How did my therapist secretly help my ex destroy me? It sounds insane, but every piece of this is real. It started with one name. I was in Dr. Martinez's waiting room, thumbing through a magazine I'd read 5 times before, when I glanced at the front desk and saw the open appointment book. Right there, in big handwriting, Declan Polk, my ex-husband, the one who cheated on me, gaslit me, lied to our daughter, and was now trying to take full custody. His appointment? Right before mine. I couldn't breathe. My brain was firing off connections I didn't want to believe. Stuff I'd said in therapy, deep, painful, specific stuff, had started showing up in court. My fear of seeming emotionally unstable turned into the centerpiece of his legal argument. When I told Dr. Martinez I hated being called overreactive, Declan started throwing that phrase at me like it was scripted. Even a dumb lie I told once in session, said I had a phobia of dogs just to see what would happen. And suddenly, Declan shows up with a German Shepherd at our drop-offs. Still, I thought maybe it's just a horrifying coincidence. Until I remembered something worse. Dr. Martinez's wife, Helen, was a family mediator. She'd led 2 of our custody sessions, and both times, I'd ended up losing time with Rosie. And guess who recommended I keep seeing Dr. Martinez afterward? Helen. Then I pulled my insurance records. That's when I threw up. Declan had been going to family consultation sessions with my therapist. Behind my back, they were billed under my name. My own insurance had been paying for him to be coached on how to destroy me. I felt like my skin was falling off. Then came Michelle. I met her in the courthouse waiting area before a hearing. She asked if I'd seen Dr. Martinez. I said yes. She stared at me like she'd seen a ghost and said, my ex started using things from our therapy too. We traded stories. It was the same pattern. A week later, we found a 3rd woman on a support forum. Same doctor, same thing. Therapy weaponized. Secrets twisted. Ex-husbands all suddenly brilliant at pushing the right buttons in court. So we made a plan. We pulled our billing records, appointment logs, court transcripts, copies of custody reports. We highlighted phrases our exes used that came straight from therapy. We charted the dates. It lined up too perfectly. It wasn't sloppy. It was designed. Still, we had nothing concrete. If we accused him without proof, he'd just spin it like we were unstable. So I did something reckless. I walked into his office for my next session, set down a folder of documents, and just said it. I know what you've been doing. He froze. I laid out everything. Helen's role, the secret sessions with Declan, the insurance fraud. His face went blank, then red, then pale again, and then he cracked. He said it started with a few dads who deserved a shot, but it became a system. He and Helen targeted women who seemed unstable. He trained their exes, taught them how to push emotional buttons to create courtroom meltdowns. Declan hadn't just figured out how to hurt me. He'd been trained. And then Martinez snapped back, cold, vicious. Said he had years of notes on me. Called me paranoid. Said if I ever spoke about this, he'd recommend supervised visits only. Said he could prove I was unfit. Showed me a thick file of therapy notes, my panic attacks, my reactions, my breakdowns, all laid out like ammo. I walked out shaking. The next few days were a blur. My sister Angela thought I was spiraling. Michelle stopped answering my calls. When I finally reached her, she sounded off, nervous. Later, she admitted Declan had offered to cover her son's tuition if she stopped helping me. Then everything started collapsing. Martinez filed a note with my insurance portal that same day. Paranoid ideation increasing. Suddenly, my job got professional courtesy calls questioning my stability. My daughter's school counselor asked if I needed support. My own family doctor asked how I was coping emotionally. Declan requested an early exchange for safety. Rosie whispered that Daddy said I had worry problems. Then I found a new therapist's card in her backpack. My mom called, worried, about things I'd only ever said in therapy. Someone had called her. I reported everything to the state board, but they said the investigation would take weeks. My custody hearing was in 4 days. Then my lawyer dropped me, said there was a conflict of interest. Other firms had already heard things about me. By the end of the week, every system around me had turned against me. Click the full story to see what happened next.